information, a knowledge of self.
We must work passionately and unrelentingly for first-class citizenship.
For instance, if the average so-called Negro, he doesn't think that he can go into business and provide jobs for himself.
We've got to get smart. We've got to organize.
And because of this, he thinks that he can only get a job from the white man, or he can only get clothes from the white man, or he can only get food from the white man.
We've got to organize so effectively and so well and engage in such powerful creative protest that there will not be a power in the world that can stop us.
We gotta be proud to be black. Don't worry about what they say. We gotta think smarter and live smarter. We gotta want more and work harder, cause they ain't giving it to us. Put your all in. If you truly wanna make it, can't be waiting for handouts, baby, you gotta take it. Like Martin gotta have a dream, cause he had one. Like Malcolm, by any means, gotta get that done. Don't be ashamed of who you are. Stick your chest out proud, make them believe it.
Hotep, and welcome to Satora's Black History Corner internet program at allpointstv.com. I am your host, Catherine Hunter Williams, and my co-host, Miss Catherine Blake.
Hello, everybody.
Are you all right, Mr. Jai?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Moving forward, on this day, let's take a minute and remember Muhammad Ali and all the people who were massacred in Orlando, Florida over the weekend. And also the singer, Gimme, the woman singer that was shot. This guy told me, Steve told me that she was shot. The guy came up and shot her right in the head. And that was like last weekend. And then this weekend, this past weekend, is the shooting that happened in Orlando, Florida. 103 people, 50 dead and 53 wounded. You got Muhammad up there? Okay, we just gonna take a moment to remember them, and while we remembering them, I'm gonna just give some stats on Muhammad Ali. He was born Cassius Marcellus Clay Jr. on January 17, 1942 in Louisville, Kentucky. He changed his name to Muhammad Ali when he became a part of the Islam Nation. And he nicknamed himself the greatest, because if you look at some of his videos and whatever, you will see he always called himself, I am the greatest. The people's champion and the Louisville lip. That means this man had a mouth. He was awesome. What I loved about him is he stood up. He wasn't afraid to do anything. He said what he had to say, and he backed it up.
Yes, he did.
He went to prison because he was a conscientious objector. And they didn't send him to prison. They put him on probation or whatever, because they had, as being a conscientious objector was because of his religion. And he said them people ain't never did nothing to him. He was not going over there to fight them people. And he stood there and he was willing to go to prison. So I got a lot for Muhammad Ali. He joined our Father God on June 3rd, and his ancestors, on June 3rd, 2016, he was 74 years old in Scottsdale, Arizona. That's Muhammad Ali. Just take a moment and just remember. The greatest champion in the world to me. I loved him. I love anyone that gets up and they speak and say what they got to say.
And back it up.
And back it up. I ain't afraid if I got, because it's like America was against him when he said he was not going to the Vietnam War, and he didn't go.
You know, some people called him
Float like a butterfly.
Some people called him a draft
Sting
dodger.
like a bee.
He really wasn't a draft dodger. He was willing to take the consequences of actions too. So that's more admirable than just running to Canada like a lot of them did.
Like a lot of them did.
Yeah.
Those were draft dodgers.
Right. This guy wasn't. I don't like when people accuse him of that. He said, okay, put me in prison, but I'm not going to go over and kill people for you. That's
He said they never did nothing to him. Why he gonna go over there and do that? But it was also a part of his religion. You know, as a conscientious objector.
Yeah, see, I had an uncle like that during World War II, and he served in the medical corps. So, but he didn't flat out told him he didn't want to kill anybody, so they put him in the medical corps. But I mean, he was a conscientious objector too. So I mean, I respect that. He didn't run. He said, okay, you can put me in prison or do whatever, but I'm here. I'm not moving. So I do respect that.
And he didn't. And it got overturned, even though they wanted to put him in prison. It was overturned, so it all worked for the good. It all worked for the good. And that was when the draft was going on, and they was just drafting our men.
Yes.
Yeah, so fellas out there today, y'all better pray that it's a war that doesn't go on and they be drafting y'all, and you gotta go.
Absolutely.
All right.
Have to sign up soon as you turn 18.
Yes. All right, let's move forward. Afterwards, I will continue with our story about two inventors, Landnow Bell and George Samson. And also, I bet you didn't know this, Miss B is going to tell our story about who the original founders of Memorial Day were. All right. Okay, let's get into, what is his name? Let's go to George Samson first. George Samson invented, all I have is the patent. They do not have pictures of these inventors from back in the day. So all I have is the patent, and he invented the clothes dryer, which was the beginning of the clothes dryer that we are using today, and that helped us out so much. We don't have to. I remember the day we used to have to hang our
Clothespins,
on the
clothesline.
and I mean all clothes, granny panties and all.
Oh.
All right. This is an early patent for a clothes dryer, and it's U.S. patent number 476416, and it was received by George T. Samson on June 7th, 1892.
1892?
George Samson also patented a sled propeller. Now, I didn't get that patent, so I don't even know what a sled propeller is unless it's one of those things that they use on those snowmobiles. That a propeller job.
What'd you say?
Is that sled propeller one of those things that they use on snowmobiles?
I don't know. That's one thing I'm drawing a blank on. That was what I was trying to figure out. I was going to go try to check it out, but no, I don't know for sure. But it sounds like it. Sled propeller, yeah.
Yeah, but okay. George Samson wrote in his patent, "My invention relates to the improvement in clothes dryers.
Wow.
The object of my invention is to suspend clothing in close relation to a stove by means of frames so constructed that they can be readily placed in a proper position and put aside when not required for use." That is the clothes dryer, and it sounds like it relates to an improvement in the clothes dryers. So clothes dryers
Back in those days?
back in those days was not really around. These came out
I know we didn't have one.
in the 60s or something when they came out.
I have no idea because we use
Clotheslines
yes.
and hangers, and I remember, and your clothes wasn't soft,
Right.
and you had to put some Argo starch, melt that starch down and sprinkle them clothes down and watch them.
Iron every day.
Yeah. My mama had me ironing sheets and my
Pillowcases.
pillowcases. I do not do none of that today. I can't stand ironing. I'm not joking. Okay, moving forward. Improvement in smokestacks for locomotives. This was done by Landnow Bell. Let me see. Specific forming parts of I-letter patent number 115153, dated May 23rd, 1871. And this is a letter that he wrote. He said, "To whom it may concern, be it known that I, Landnow Bell of Washington City, District of Columbia, have invented a new and useful improvement in smokestacks or chimneys for locomotives and other engines, of which the following is a full, complete description, reference being had to the accompanying drawing, in which Figure 1 is a side elevation. Figure 2 is a vertical longitudinal. I don't know if I pronounced that right. Longitudinal.
Longitudinal, yeah. You're right.
Section of so much of a locomotive engine as is necessary to illustrate this invention. Figure 3 is a horizontal section on the line N times of figure 1. The objective of my invention is to arrest the sparks and cinders which pass out of the smokestack, to the great annoyance of passengers, and I'm sure it did.
Actually, I rode the one in Crossroads, and I was sitting in an open car, and I got 2 cinders in my eye. There, I got one cleared out, and it was like big chunks. Yeah. So you could, if you ever rode a coal-driven steam engine, yeah, that was definitely, so especially if you're in the open cars, like a lot of them were like semi-open cars. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it was a big problem. I mean, it would blind you,
they must don't know about this invention out there at Crossroad.
Well, it must have been an older engine. It must not have been fitted with this. So, I mean, It must have been an older engine, or they didn't opt to put this on there. But, yeah, I've gotten blinded before.
Oh, my goodness. I can't imagine that. Ooh, what if it get in your hair?
Ooh.
It's even worse in your eyes, though. I mean, it's like you could blind, it's like it feels like gravel.
That it may touch is not good. But if you, Lord John, it's good you can see.
It did bother me for like 2 days afterwards. My eyes were still sore and red and stuff from that cinder. It's like a chunk of of unburned coal. Yeah, it's really bad. Yeah.
Oh. Okay, and great danger to combustible property, contagious to the line of steam travel. My goodness. Ooh, I can imagine that. And it consists in the application of illus and channels, air tunnels, fans, wire screens, and conducting tubes in the manner substantially as about to be described. And I'm not going to go through the whole thing because it's quite a bit, but I'm going to go one more and I'm going to let it go. The locomotive is constructed in the ordinary form except the smokestack, which is provided with an additional line or passage and other modifications required to create a downward draft or current through the same. So, John, you got that picture of the train up, and you see how that smoke is going backwards?
I have that up now, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's that downward draft. And if you sitting behind it like John was talking about, sitting in the open air, certain things will get on you. Okay, that's the description, and that's the train with the smokestack on it, and then it's the patent also.
Because back then, when you traveled, a lot of times you kept your windows open, so it wasn't maybe an open car so much, but you still had access to the outside. Because think about it, people didn't shower or bathe regularly on most people, so you wanted to have some air coming in because people stink, so especially going long distance on a train.
On a plane. Oh my goodness.
I've never been on a long distance flight on a plane. Just local, just flew around.
I went to California last month, and yes, and if you got a body odor, or BO as they call it, and they sit next to you, oh yes, and they turn their air on, oh yes, I felt it. Also, Landnow Bell invented the dough netter, which is bread where they make the dough for bread. He invented that. I don't think I put that patent up, did I, John? I don't think I did. No. But that's the information, our story about Landnow Bell and George T. Samson, who invented the clothes dryer.
Wow, that's really something.
It is. It's truly something. But at least we have somebody that has experienced what happens when there is the smokestack is not properly done, and they sitting in the open, and how John had got some cinders in his eyes. Oh, I can't even imagine. Now, I've always wanted to take a train ride, but then I don't know. I never did it.
It ain't like that now. It's not like that now.
Diesel or electric, so that's a lot of that's been eliminated, but it is a cool way. I've traveled back and forth to Canada. I went to Canada once, and I also went to Chicago 2 or 3 times, 4 times on a train. It's really cool. It's really pleasant.
I want to, but I haven't done it yet.
I'd encourage it.
Go to Chicago.
Yeah, I'd encourage it because it's like it's just your relaxing ride. You can get up and move around, go use the bathroom, go to the food bar, the food car. I mean, and you can get your something to eat. Not the best food on Amtrak, but anyway, you can. It's just really kind of you have a lot of flexibility. You can walk around, talk to people. You're not like It's even better to be on a plane. Right.
Yeah, and it's cheaper.
Right.
Yeah, a lot cheaper.
Than flying. All right, Miss B, let's hear our story about who the original founders of Memorial Day were.
Well, Memorial Day, how did it all begin?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Memorial Day, there's a lot of different stories about Memorial Day. But this was from May 1st in 1865 in Charleston, South Carolina. Memorial Day started when some Union soldiers were honoring 257 of their dead soldiers who were buried in a mass grave. 257 men buried in a mass grave. So this was a Confederate prison camp. So they dug up the bodies and they worked for 2 weeks to give each one a proper burial for fighting for freedom. They held a parade, and it was led by 2,800 black children, and they marched and sang and celebrated Memorial Day, May 1st. So that's really how it started. They were honoring their dead. These were soldiers that were buried in a mass grave.
That was very unpleasant.
But as of today...
Did you hear John?
Huh?
He said something.
What?
That was very unpleasant. I mean, it was like, that was rotting corpses. And those people are actually...
I can't hear
Can you tell her it's like a rotting corpse?
Too fast.
It's a
Okay,
yeah.
he said it was like rotting
Right,
corpses,
right.
dead bodies, and they was digging them all up.
They dug them up and buried them in their own graves. Yes, they did. And that was Memorial Day. That's what they did for them. It was 257 of them buried in a mass grave. But what happened also, it is often considered official start of summer in the United States. And the Memorial Day weekend has become a time to remember the fallen of conflicted past, as well as for family picnics, trips to the beach. While parades and celebrations are now a commonplace, the holiday was not universally embraced at its inception, as it was initially intended to honor Union dead from the Civil War. Now, get that, Union dead soldiers. So over time, the holidays broadened until it became a national day of remembrance. And when its origin in mind, the question may be asked, how did Memorial Day really begin? Now, there were several cities that say that they started it first, including Bloxburg, Pennsylvania, Waterloo, New York, Charleston, South Carolina. There's several cities. But...
well, the one I got is on May 1st, 1865 in Charleston, South Carolina.
Right.
I don't have all those other ones.
Yeah, they got all these are...
I didn't look through it all the way.
Yeah, these are the other cities that claim that they started it. But it all started by those soldiers burying their dead. But in... here we go. Let me find it. Lyndon Baines Johnson. Let's bring the president in here. In May of 1966, recognizing that most early celebrations were of local in origin and not an annual event, President Lyndon Baines Johnson bestowed the title of the birthplace for Memorial Day upon Waterloo, New York. That's what he did, to settle all these other cities that were saying that they started it.
But when did they change it to the end of the month? You're going to get to that, right?
No, I didn't get that. But what they're saying also here is, while this pronouncement is disputed in several communities, it was the event in Waterloo that led General Logan to push for a national day of remembrance. Then the following year, in 1967, it was made an official federal holiday. That was in
So wasn't that 1960?
1967.
That it was made official holiday on that last Monday of the month?
No, okay, hold on. Memorial Day remained on May 30th until 1971. And when it was moved to the last Monday in May as part of the Federal Uniform Holidays Act, this act also affected Veterans Day, George Washington's birthday, and Columbus Day. That's when they put it on the Mondays.
Oh.
That was.
It says, while sectional differences have healed and the scope of Memorial Day expanded, some southern states retain days for the separate honoring
of Confederate soldiers. So that was very interesting. I thought that was something to talk about, how it got started and where it went and how they was just taken over.
But we still got 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not really. We just got 5.
We started at 20 minutes too. So we got 10 minutes.
Oh, we're going to take the whole... Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you always had to stop at 5 minutes. Okay.
No, because we're not doing the... I opt out.
Never mind.
Yeah, I told you about it.
All right. Well, I wanted to bring this up too. We wanted to make sure you did say a moment of silence for those that were the mass shooting in Orlando, Florida this past weekend. But the media has it as though it's the
first,
the bloodiest.
9/11?
They mentioned 9/11,
Okay.
but they said it's the first one since 9/11.
Okay.
It's the worst one since 9/11, and I'm disputing that because it's not. There have been more people that have been killed in no more than mass shootings, and I've got it right here. Just some of it, not all of it. Like in we're talking about the massacre of the Wyatt Native Americans. That was in February 26th of 1860, where they were trying to annihilate these Indians in California.
Yeah, but that's back then.
Hold on.
Come on.
April 12th, 1860. Well, let me say this. These were children and women, and there was 200 of them that were shot and killed. Okay? 200 is a lot more than 50. And April 12, 1864, a lot of them know about Fort Pillow in Memphis, Tennessee, where 227 black and white soldiers were massacred by Union soldiers. And these were Confederate soldiers. They shot them down to the point they kept shooting and shooting and shooting. They were ordered to continue to shoot till there was so much blood, there was pools of blood, brains everywhere, that the people that were shooting had to stop because they started throwing up.
Okay, so this is the Native Americans, and this is in the 1800s.
Hold on.
Bring us up to the date.
Hold on. Oh, there's more. This was 1873 in April in New Orleans. We're talking about Parrish, Louisiana, where 280 blacks were killed by the Ku Klux Klan and the White League. That was devastating. They did not agree with the Reconstruction era, so they went and shot them down. In 1913, at the Ludlow massacre, where 66 people were killed, 11 children and 2 women were burned alive. Hold on. We're talking about Tulsa, Oklahoma in 1921, where the bombing of Greenwood Street. Now, this was the first bombing from the air of a city in the United States. Tulsa, Oklahoma. There were hundreds of people that were killed. Black Wall Street. People were jailed. Businesses. And I just wanted to say that is not the worst. The 50 that were killed, but learn your history. The 50 that were killed, yeah, we feel sorry for them, but the media has it all wrong. The media doesn't tell you everything.
They don't.
There is no excuse for such a historical.
Yeah, I was gonna say they don't talk about the benefits army. The First World War veterans that were slaughtered after the World War II that just started the Depression and went to Washington to demand.
Right. I just brought a few of them. I didn't bring them all. There's several.
Our government's done a lot of horrific stuff to
There's
people
a
living
lot.
here. And they just, we're
But the
not trying to
media,
forget.
what Catherine was saying is, the media, if you don't know your history, you will think this is the first time
it's
something
definitely
ever happened.
And it's not. The media has amnesia.
Yeah, that's what they want you to have, amnesia, and that's always.
And we don't. Some of us don't forget.
See, this was an individual doing that slaughtering. When the government does it, we're just supposed to forgive and forget automatically.
But that's all it's about. Her, she saying what she said. That was not the first.
That's not the first, and it's not the worst.
Thank you. And if you I know it's some of these youth that have lived through 9/11. That was, how many years ago that 9/11 happened?
Yeah.
A lot of thousands of people died then.
Thousands and thousands.
And that was
upon
a terrorist act also. But that's why we say, know your history. Know your personal history, but also know this country's history.
And not only take the media's word for it, do some research on your own.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, just don't accept everything the media. You know it's a mind control.
That's right.
Okay, young folks, talking to y'all. But I want to piggyback off a little bit off of what the program where you was talking about. Memorial Day was started by former slaves on May 1st, 1865. It says, who was first? Many stories, but no clear answers. Now I'm going to move down because you named those different places. But this is a story. Did you say anything about in October 1864 about Emma Hunter?
No, I didn't.
And her friend Sophie Keller gave flowers to decorate the graves of Dr. Reuben Hunter.
Right.
Emma's father.
And that's how decorating the graves started. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Emma's father, Hunter, had died of yellow fever while working in an army hospital in Baltimore. En route to the cemetery, they encountered Elizabeth Myers, whose son Amos had died during the third day of the Battle of Gettysburg. Myers asked to join to the girls, and the threesome proceeded to decorate the two graves. Afterwards, they decided to meet again on the same day.
On the next year.
The following year, not just to decorate the two graves, but also others who might not have had anyone to remember them. That's why Memorial Day is a very important day. It's not only personal death that happened in your family, but also remember the veterans that have died to keep us free. You know, and they have a lot of different programs, parades and different things. In discussing these plans with others, it was decided to make the day a village-wide event on the following 4th of July. As a result, on July 4th, 1865, each grave was decorated with flowers and flags, and the event became an annual occurrence.
Decorating their graves.
Yeah. Scholarship had also indicated that it. Did you talk about that?
The bottom part. The bottom part.
Okay. Indicated that in 1865, recently freed slaves in Charlotte, South Carolina, reinterred dead Union prisoners of war from a mass grave to individual graves as a sign of respect. They apparently returned 3 years later to decorate the graves in remembrance. On April 25th, 1866, a number of women gathered to decorate the graves of fallen soldiers in Columbus, Mississippi. 4 days later, former Major General John Logan spoke about a citywide memorial event in Carbondale, Illinois, a central figure in advancing the holiday. Logan was a national commander of the Grand Army of the Republic, a large Union veteran organization. All right. So now you kind of know when Memorial Day actually started. It was on May 1st, 1865. You can go and find other days, but it's not clear of who really did it. But this says Memorial Day was started by former slaves on May 1st, 1865 in Charleston, South Carolina to honor 257 dead Union soldiers who had been buried in massive graves in a Confederate prison camp. And Miss B told you of when they changed the dates. Would you read that again? Of when they changed the date to... Well, this is going to knock it out. Okay. I'm sorry. We out of time. She on me today. All right. Okay. Satora's Black History Corner internet program comes to you via satellite at allpointstv.com. You can watch our program every second and fourth Monday of the month unless the day falls on a holiday, starting at 3:30 p.m. Also, be sure to watch What's Going On with political pundit Dr. George Moss every Monday at 2 p.m. Something new is happening at allpointstv.com every Tuesday from 8:30 to 9:30 on Comcast Channel 17. You can now begin watching allpointtv.com programs on Comcast Channel 17. As always, I like to say too, thanks to all of you who have watched our program today. We hope that you have learned something about our story. And that's our stories today about George T. Samson, inventor of the clothes dryer. Landnow Bell invented the smokestacks for locomotives, and the original founders of Memorial Day. Until next time, as we like to always say, know that we are a strong and resilient people and that no one can keep us down. Romans 8:31 said, if God be for us, who can be against us? Also, to always be true to yourself, love yourself, and embrace the beautiful skin you are in.
Amen.
And to always keep on keeping on with us. Amani, which means peace in Swahili.
A knowledge of
We
self.
must work passionately and unrelentingly for first-class citizenship.
For instance, if the average so-called Negro, he doesn't think that he can go into business and provide jobs for himself.
We've got to get smart. We've got to organize.
And because of this, he thinks that he can only get a job from the white man, or he can only get clothes from the white man, or he can only get food from the white man.
We've got to organize so effectively and so well and engage in such powerful, creative protest that there will not be a power in the world that can stop us.
We gotta be proud to be black. Don't worry about what they say. We gotta think smarter and live smarter. We gotta want more and work harder, cause they ain't giving it to us. Put your all in. If you truly wanna make it, can't be waiting for handouts, baby, you gotta take it. Like Martin gotta have a dream, cause he had one. Like Malcolm, by any means, gotta get that done. Don't be ashamed of who you are. Stick your chest out proud. Make them believe that you're the best. Show them what you about. We gotta love each other. Stop killing each other. We gotta unitize and don't believe the lies. This is a message to the blacks and any other minority. Live well and love self. That's the priority.
Been taught for so many centuries that there are nobody is not easy.
So they very skillfully made you and me hate our African identity.
Maybe the English language should be reconstructed so that teachers will not be forced to teach the Negro child